What is up, my butter biscuits? In today's video, we're going to be talking about Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star because they recently just did another video again exposing discount makeup stores. And I do have to say, y'all, I have a friend that used to work at a discount makeup store. Well, not even discount makeup store, y'all. Low-key, why do they got me like scared to say the name? Y'all know what store I'm talking about, okay? It's red and it starts with a T and then ends with an X. You know what I mean? Come on. You guys know which one it is. Especially in this video, too, from Shane Dawson. I was sitting over here like, okay, we know exactly what it is. But obviously, not obviously, but in case you guys didn't know, supposedly, allegedly, he was sued by Chuck E. Cheese when he had came out with a conspiracy theory video about Chuck E. Cheese where they take all the leftover pieces and put them together. They supposedly sued Shane Dawson. So I think that he's trying to cover his end over here and not say the name of the store that he was in because he was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to get another lawsuit. But also, too, I do have to say, y'all, I'm like literally off on a tangent here, bouncing off the walls, because I have to say about the Chuck E. Cheese situation, when I was watching that video, I had always noticed at Chuck E. Cheese specifically, like, why is their pizza like uneven and separate? Like, you make a circle and then you cut it. Like, why is it so uneven? I've noticed that before, like years ago, going to Chuck E. Cheese. I'm like, this is a little bit strange to me. Like, why does it actually look pieced together? Like, I don't get it. So when I saw his video, I'm gonna be real with you guys, I was like, oh, that makes so much sense that they take all the leftover pieces and just piece together a pie and say like, oh, this is how it is. And it's like, no, think about it. Whenever you guys go to like Papa John's or Domino's, when have you ever gotten a pizza that was like half like this, half up here? Like, it just didn't make sense. You know what I mean? But anyways, y'all, we're going to be talking about this within today's video because I thought this would be really interesting because I did have a friend that worked at a store before and did confirm that basically everything that you return to a discount makeup store or a discount store in general, they just basically put it right back on the shelf, even if it is a faulty item. Say, for example, if you purchase something with like mold on it and you returned it, they're going to put it back on the shelf. And I do have to say, I do feel like it sucks. Obviously, these discount stores purchase this like mass amount of product from like Sephora or Ulta or directly through the company, and then they put it on their shelves. Obviously, it's going to take a huge cost for them if they just take all these returns and then damage out the product because obviously they paid for it from the brand. Do you know what I mean? But at the same time too, like say for example, if I return, I don't know, like this Fenty cream stick right here, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's mold on it. Let me go ahead and return it. And I go and return it, and then they put it back on the shelf. That's going to contaminate somebody else's face. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, this is a little bit shady, and I do have to say, I found this to be really interesting. I saw a lot of people on Twitter talking trash about it, like, oh my gosh, Shane Dawson just makes up all these videos, whatever. And I'm just kind of like, you know what though? Somebody like me finds it really interesting because I'm like, y'all, I've always wondered for years what they do with these products. Specifically at Mac, y'all, when I worked there and we would take returns, we would put them in this big bin. I worked at a Macy's location. We would put them in a big bin and then they would take them out and they would recycle them. And supposedly, obviously, I never knew about this because I never tracked the packaging. Supposedly, they would take all the products, empty them, and then they would recycle the actual packaging. So everything that's inside of it. So say, for example, you return a cream stick like this, they melt down the plastic and then remake the product with it. As far as the actual insides of it, they destroy it. And it is a company loss. That's what it was told, obviously, at Mac. And that obviously did make sense too, because when I worked at Mac, we did have the back to Mac program to where you could return 5 products, or I think it was 5 or 6, one of the two, and then you get a free lipstick. So I was like, oh, that makes perfect sense. But then I never really thought about the discount stores. I'm like, wait, what would they do with it? Like, that's just a straight up loss, you know? Picture a brand like Fenty or Mac. It's kind of like, oh, okay, they could reuse that plastic. But then it's kind of like, no, like, you know, Ross and stuff like that is not going to be able to do that, you know, because they're not making their own brand. So I thought this to be really interesting. And then I do want to say, too, Jeffree Star, I'll play a clip within this video. Jeffree Star immediately said that he can confirm that this was true. So I was like, y'all, it got me a little bit like curious of like, okay, his stuff has been sold before in like Nordstrom's rack and things like that. So I'm like, I wonder, how does he go about combating that? You know what I mean? Like, you as a brand owner, wouldn't you be a little skeptical of like, oh my gosh, what if somebody returns a contaminated palette that a customer before them, you know, contaminated, and then somebody else buys it and then they're blaming the brand? Like, I feel like that could be a really tricky situation. Like, just picture it. Say, for example, if I used something, I didn't like it, and then I was like contaminated, and I returned it, they put it back on the shelf, and then you went out there and you bought it, and then you got contaminated, you're going to think that it's the brand, right? You're going to think it's Jeffree Star Cosmetics, when in reality, it's the person before that contaminated it, and like a brand like Ross or TJ Maxx or whatever is going to go out there and resell it. Do you know what I mean? So I found that to be really interesting, and now, if I'm being real with you guys, it made me a little bit skeptical because my friend did tell me before everything that you return goes back out there, but I was like, oh, maybe it's just at that store. But I guess I was just a little bit naive to realize like, oh my gosh, it's like every store. Anyway, so we're going to be talking about that within today's video because I thought it was really interesting to me personally. I know a lot of people on Twitter were like, this is so dumb, like blah, 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 who cares? And I'm like, I'm sorry, but y'all know me. I'm balling on a budget 24/7, and I do like to go around to all these discount stores and look for discounted makeup. So now it made me a little bit skeptical. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta like sanitize these products if I'm gonna be purchasing them, which I probably should have been doing to begin with, but I guess I really didn't think about it too much until now. Anyways, y'all, make sure you guys click the link down below. I have new videos on my travel channel. I upload there every single Sunday in case you guys didn't know. So make sure you guys go show some love over there. Make sure you guys give this video a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate that. And let's go ahead and get into it. So in case you guys did not see, Shane Dawson uploaded this video called Mind-Blowing Conspiracy Theories with Jeffree Star, and basically was all surrounded about them purchasing, well, you know what, I wouldn't even say them because Jeffree Star was only in it on FaceTime. Honestly, if I'm keeping it real with you guys, Jeffree Star was only in it for maybe a couple minutes, literally just on FaceTime, and that was it. I thought he was actually going to be in the video, but basically this whole video was about Shane Dawson exposing discounted makeup stores because he went out and purchased some product and he put a little star on it so that way he can know if it's going to be resold. And they went there the next day after returning it and found out that it was in fact resold. So basically in this video, they picked up this product, let's just say right here, picked up this, put a little star on the inside of the packaging, returned it, and then went and rebought it. And I was like, oh my God, they literally repurchased it, the same exact product. To me, that's kind of like mind blowing. Like, I feel like, wouldn't the brand, like, I don't know, wouldn't you at least think to like look inside of it? Because they did purposely destroy the pallet just in case to like see if they look at the pallet to see if it was destroyed. That way the person returning the product didn't just see a star, or, you know, they're obviously supposed to check the product. Like, say for example, like when I worked at Mac before, I would check the product to see if it was like used. Say for example, a Studio Fix powder, right? Like if it's like halfway used, I'd be like, okay, we can't return this, you used it halfway. So we do have to open up the product and typically in front of the customer to see, and you could obviously tell if a product is used or not, you know? So I'm like, wouldn't they be doing that at the discount stores? They should be doing that, because I feel like they could get sued if somebody gets like, you know, an eye infection or an infection on the face or something. I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead and play a small clip right here so you guys can check out what I'm talking about.
Ready? I'm just gonna rip it. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Oh my God.
No. I'm dying. There's cum all over my face.
My God.
So they actually didn't open the pallet because it's disgusting. It's fucking disgusting.
Oh my God.
Is it the same one? Yeah.
Oh my God.
I know, but open the pallet. Let's just make sure it's not like.
Oh. So as you guys can see from right there, he went back to purchase the products the next day and it still did have the star inside of it. Now, what I thought to be really weird about this too is because you may be thinking like, okay, like how can the worker tell if the star is inside of it? Because obviously when you go to return a product, they're not going to like look inside the packaging, but they purposely destroyed the actual pallet itself, like rubbed on it, and like they did it with gloves and everything to kind of destroy the product to see if they're going to look at the product and then still put it back on the shelf. Because for example, when I worked at Mac and we received any type of returns, we would take a look at the product. Say for example, like a Studio Fix powder, right in front of the customer, I would take a look at it to see if it was like halfway used. Because y'all, there would be so many people out there like when a product is literally touching pan and they're like, oh, I just don't like it, like this didn't work out for me, and I'm like, oh, it's halfway used. Like we can't return a halfway used product because you pretty much used it all. You know what I mean? It's like going to a restaurant, eating all of your food and then saying you didn't like it. And it's like, well, clearly you did like it because it's gone. Do you know what I mean? So at TJ Maxx or like, you know, other discount stores, they should check the inside of the product to see how it looks. And apparently they don't even look inside of it. So you can just like return anything inside of there. Like, I just feel like that's low-key a little bit sketchy too. But also it kind of does explain, there was this one time that I found this Too Faced Hangover primer, like, and I opened up the box just to check it out inside of it because I was like, okay, let me see if this is like, you know, still the full product. Y'all, I opened it up and it was a different brand of setting spray. I'm like, somebody literally, I thought honestly at that time, I thought somebody just like switched it out with another product on the shelf and like stole that one or something. But now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, y'all, somebody probably could have took like this and just like returned it inside the box. Do you know what I mean? To make it seem like it. So I'm like, damn, like people at the store don't even check the inside at all, which I thought to be a little bit sketchy because it's like, y'all, I feel like kind of bad, you know, obviously for the brand, like the discount stores that are going to be losing out on, you know, potentially $100,000s of product because they're returning products, you know, and they have nothing to do with them. Say, for example, like how I mentioned earlier with Mac, they can melt it down and like reuse that plastic and create more components with it. Do you know what I mean? But a brand like TJ Maxx or Ross, they can't do that. So it's kind of like, okay, it sucks that they're going to be losing out on this money, but at the same time too, they can't risk infecting somebody else, you know? Anyways, there was one other thing that I did want to talk about within this video about Jeffree Star. What I thought to be really, really interesting, and I did not know anything about this, is apparently he did have a teal shade of liquid lipstick that went bad, and he had a company come to pick up all of this product, and they were supposed to destroy it, and apparently they sold it to a discounted store. I don't know which store it was either Ross or TJ Maxx or Marshall's, you know, one of the three, but apparently they took it, they went and sold it behind his back to make a profit out of it. So apparently he found out about it, and he called the store and said, hey, these products are bad, they're not supposed to be for sale, and they pulled them from the shelves. So go ahead and check out this clip right here so you can hear him saying it.
We were getting rid of, actually it was expired liquid lipsticks that had gotten weird in our warehouse before we had the full freezers in there. So one shade, it was like a hot teal, it went bad, and it like accelerated the expiration. It was in too hot of an area. We would never have sold those, so we sent them in for destruction, which means they can go in like an incinerator. The middleman company was taking money under the table and selling off me, Anastasia, and other brands that were going to be destroyed, and reselling the bad product, which can make my name look bad, is also really illegal.
So as y'all can see from right there, the middleman was kind of shady. He also did mention too that Anastasia Beverly Hills had the same thing happen to them. I have to say, I feel like stuff like that is like super, super shady. I didn't even know somebody could get away with that. Like, I did not know, say for example, if you call me over to pick up your trash, I can like go through your trash and then like sell it to somebody else. Like, to me, that is so crazy and so mind-blowing. I guess maybe I just didn't really understand how this works as far as like a discounted store where they purchase from. As he said within the video, a beauty broker. I didn't even know things were like that. Like, so that's so crazy to me that this brand goes and charges Jeffree Star Cosmetics to pick up this, say that they're gonna go you know, deconstruct it or like disintegrate it, and then they turn around and they sell it to a discounted store, so they're making double the money. I'm like, y'all, that seems like a fat lawsuit. Like, that seems highly illegal. But I don't know how that stuff works. I was really tripped out about that, so I thought I would share with you guys. Anyways, that is it for this video, so make sure you guys let me know your thoughts and opinions about everything. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, Girl Scout.